I believe so because they're linked to PayPal.
Okay.
So because what happens is Ko-fi, once someone makes a donation to Ko-fi, they take it and immediately, there's no time gap. Immediately they send it to my PayPal account.
Okay,
so that's how it works. And I think they keep I think it's like 3.5% or 4%, which is really not bad compared to some of the other, cash apps that there are.
Okay.
So
thank you, Paul. Yeah, Paul said he just donated via PayPal. So I'll send you something over, from my personal PayPal after the show. I got so much stuff going on. I don't want the computer to crash.
Yeah, well, we've done a really good job, man. I mean, since I put up that video the very first day to today, I haven't looked at the account today, but I think we've collected over $8,000 already.
That's awesome.
And of course, awesome. if you saw my, I think it was my last video, I put up where I already donated $5,000 to that. So yeah, I'm definitely not. I don't want to hold on to the money. I want to get it out there as soon as possible. So yeah, man, I think things are working out good when it comes to that, and hopefully the people that get the relief from the food banks can really use it, and it'll be a blessing to them. I just hope that I mean, it's not a lot compared to the need, but it's what we can do. So
yeah, folks in the chat, really quickly, the first link down below actually will donate to Texas through his Ko-fi account. And thank you for being here. Please, tonight, I'm asking, do not super chat me. I would rather you send that money to Rudy. So yeah, Rudy, I got questions lined up, brother. Yeah. What's up?
Can I say one last thing when it comes to the donations? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not pointing at anyone in particular because I'm not. I don't even know a name. But if anyone is not comfortable with the donation coming through me and then me making it, that's fine and that's understandable. Go ahead and watch the previous video that I made. It shows you how easy it is for you to donate yourself. So if you're the kind of person that you would rather just donate yourself, by all means, please do so. It doesn't have to come through me. It doesn't have to come through me. I went ahead and took this on. That way, it would be easier for people because they already know about it. They already know my link. And for those of you that don't know me or haven't visited my channel, I'm very transparent with everything I do. I show you how much money I got. I show you how much money I sent over, and I show you the process. So you don't have to be worried about that. But if you're uncomfortable, that's okay. It's understandable. All right. You can still make a donation yourself.
It's crazy, that you bring it up. I actually had to post a link over on my Facebook yesterday listing like screenshots from PayPal with the donations and things over the past 5 or 6 months.
And you know what? That's all right. It's all right to do that because I mean, some people they're curious, and then it's all right. Yeah. It's okay to be curious. And hey, man, are you really doing this? If you're gonna do something for good, then you should be able to provide that transparency to the people that are actually donating. And I'm all right with that. I don't take offense. I don't take offense to someone asking me to show them proof. I don't one bit because I have nothing to hide as far as it goes as far as me giving money away. I don't have anything on. So,
and then on top of that, last year, right before Christmas, you had your vehicle loaded down. Like you actually went through the physical movement of delivering this stuff.
Yeah, that was a good time. That was a lot of work, but it was very gratifying.
That scared me off. I saw that and I'm like, no, I think I'll just donate all the, PayPal and let them buy their own stuff. Because that looked like
I might hire someone to do all the heavy lifting.
Exactly. So I've got questions here for you. They were ready to go. And I was like, oh my God, I just opened the floodgates. And so these questions are pretty much tailored to you.
Okay.
So first of all, Texas, obviously, folks, we know what happened in Texas. I think Rudy would agree with me that it's going to happen again at some point somewhere in the United States. What are 3 things that people can do to prepare for that?
Oh, very, very easy question, but very long answer.
That's so
fine. The 3 things is your first 3 B's of prepping. Okay, so get your beans. Beans doesn't just stand for food. It stands for beans and biologicals. What do you need in order to live? Obviously, we need air. We have air, right? So far, we don't have to pay for air. So we're good on that department.
So far, yeah.
Right? but you need water. And I did a video a while back where I said something like, become your own infrastructure. Take a look at the things in your life that you depend on an infrastructure for, and become your own, or have your own infrastructure as a backup. For example, we all depend on an infrastructure to get water delivered to our homes via pipes and pumps and all that kind of stuff, right? So have a plan to become your own water infrastructure, either by storing water, or either by having a collection system, by having filters that you can filter water and make that water potable. Because a lot of times, whenever water is a problem in any kind of a crisis, it's not because there's no water, but because the water that's available is not potable. And if you research this, more people die every year from water, from like cholera, and bad water, than they do from starvation or war, because they don't have that basic infrastructure set up where they live. So become your own infrastructure when it comes to water. And that's very simple. Store water, okay? Have a way to collect water in case your stored water runs out, and then have a way to clean the water. So that covers your water. And then, of course, same thing with food. We depend on the just-in-time and supermarket infrastructure so that we can get our food, or at least most of us do, right? There's a few people out there that are very self-reliant, and that's a great thing. But most people depend on being able to go and buy their meats with that little pink foil in the bottom, or pink thing in the bottom, right? And
that slimy thing, yeah.
Right? So have your own infrastructure when it comes to food. Have a pantry that's fully loaded with a year's worth supply of food. Have some long-term grains put away in 5-gallon buckets. Now that they are still cheap, they're still cheap. And that will stretch your 1 year supply of food. A good storage of grains like rice, wheat, oats, beans, a good storage of those things will extend your 1 year food supply in your pantry to probably 2 years, because grains are what I like to call a maintenance food. They are a caloric maintenance food, meaning that they have a lot of calories, but not necessarily a lot of proteins and fats. So they can give you those calories that you need to supplement your proteins and your vegetables and things like that you have in your pantry, right? And you do the same thing with everything, okay? You create your own infrastructure, right? So I'm going to consider that one of the three things. The second thing is, what do you call it? Train, right? Make sure that when you go get a cool prepper gear, when you go and get a nice little camping stove or whatever it is, learn how to use it. At least learn how to use it once or twice so that you're comfortable with it, because that's called muscle memory. When you train yourself and you do something so many times that you can then do it with your eyes closed, right? That's called muscle memory. And what that does is, let me just tell you a quick story. In the military, we train a lot, or I used to train a lot with firearms, right? Why? Because when you're in a stressful situation, you don't have to think about it. You just do it. That's called muscle memory. Same thing. If you are putting stuff away in order to prepare for a crisis, any crisis, you don't want to have to be looking at the owner's manual of that item during the crisis. You want to be able to know how to use it. So, and a second answer to that second part is, try things that you think you may need to know how to do now before you actually know how to do it. For example, pressure canning. I get so many comments on my videos saying, I've had a pressure canner for a year, but I'm afraid of it. Well, if you don't learn how to use it now, how well off do you think you're going to be when you really do need to use it? So train with your things. Learn how to use the things that you get. Don't just get them, put them away, and hope that you never have to use them, right? And then number three, I just did a video on this here. I still have to upload it and everything. But the third thing is, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming up on one of the biggest, if not the biggest, downfall in the stock market and financial markets in the history of mankind. If you're not preparing for that, then what you're doing is you're enabling yourself to have nothing when we get to the other side. Because what you have to understand is that prepping is to get you through the crisis. Wealth preservation is so that after the crisis is over, you can have something to start over with again.
Oh, that's
So
on the list. We're going to talk about that. I know you're an expert when it comes to that.
So you need to start preparing yourselves now for this new paradigm, because what I'm thinking is, and I guess we can talk about this later on, like you said, so I won't get into it too much. But what I'm thinking is that, not thinking, I know this, all right? I like mathematics, and you can't fool math. You cannot fool math, and you cannot fool nature. It's kind of two in the same, right? It doesn't matter how long you manipulate something, eventually nature will set it back to its mean. And we have been manipulating everything, ladies and gentlemen, not we per se as you or me, but our government and our central banks have been manipulating everything for decades, if not for over 100 years.
Yeah, well, definitely since the gold standard was dropped, right?
Yeah, well, even before then, a lot of people think that FDR was a hero, but FDR really sold out America to the Federal Reserve.
Wow.
When he confiscated the gold back in 1934, what he really did was he sold out the United States of American citizens to the Federal Reserve by bailing out the Federal Reserve. And people don't really know that because it's not in the textbooks in schools. But FDR was definitely not a hero.
Yeah, they leave a lot out in the textbooks, it seems like.
Yeah.
So crypto is here to stay. You explained this to me on the phone the other day. Makes perfect sense. Sailing Prepper was actually on here before you got on here, and he was explaining it. I think you can't even argue the fact that it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. But for us newbies, what is the best way to get started, and what kind of advice would you give to the people that are new to crypto?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say that I'm not a financial advisor.
Yeah, I'm definitely not.
So first off, when people hear cryptos, the first thing they say is, "Oh, that's the mark of the beast." Okay, that's my experience. Okay, so the difference between what I think is, like the mark, and cryptocurrencies as we know them today, like Bitcoin and all of the other cryptocurrencies and tokens that fall under Bitcoin, the difference between those and what I think the market is what I think is coming, is when the government says, "Hey, listen, do you want me to help you? Okay, so we have this central bank digital currency that is completely centralized, meaning that it's completely controlled by one entity." That is what I would say the market is, because once that happens, John, after our next big crisis, whatever it may be, I think it's going to be a stock market crash, but I don't know. But they need a very big crisis in order to implement this. So after our after our next big crisis, people are going to be more destitute than they are today. And they'll accept anything. And they will implement that cryptocurrency from the Federal Reserve, from the central bank. They'll be able to tell you what you can and can't buy. They'll be able to look at your browsing history on your computer and say, "Oh, wait a minute here. I don't think John should be going into Sportsman's Warehouse to buy any ammo. So let me go ahead and block that sale, block that purchase."
They'd be seeing a lot of silver on mine. I try.
Well, there you go. What I'm saying is they'll be able to block you. That right there is the bad side of a cryptocurrency, because it is a cryptocurrency, but it's completely centralized or governed by one entity. Now, on the other side, we have the free market cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. And I'm just going to say Bitcoin, but whenever I say Bitcoin, I'm referring to, like all of the cryptocurrencies that are
biggest.
being traded, right? Yeah.
Right.
So something like Bitcoin cannot be stopped by government. They can try to hinder it. I mean, China couldn't stop it. India couldn't stop it. Nigeria couldn't stop it. No one can stop it. Venezuela couldn't stop it. And what I mean by stop it is that something like Bitcoin does not have a warehouse. They don't have a headquarters. So you can't go knock down a door and say, "You're shut down." It's impossible to stop it. Bitcoin is run by the people that are in it all over the world. It's called miners. So whenever
that's actually what's most appealing to me about it. I didn't really understand it. And then when you guys started explaining it to me, I'm like, wait a minute. The government can't get their hands on it. They can't regulate it. And then my antenna went up. I'm like, wait, this is going to be big.
Look, they cannot confiscate it. The only way that the government can get a hold of it is if you give them your password. So, yep.
Probably not happening.
Exactly. That's the only way. I forgot the exact story, but I think there's a guy that just got out of jail. I think he spent like 4 or 5 years in jail for something. I forgot what it was, but he's got $50 million worth of Bitcoin. And he wouldn't give them the password. Wow. And he's like, no, I'm not giving you the password. How are they going to get it? They can't get it. All he needs to do is go find himself a computer, put a VPN on it, download a wallet, get his password, and download his crypto. They cannot confiscate it from you. Now, can they make it illegal? Sure they can, just like they did in China, but has it stopped them? China's got one of the biggest crypto mining operations in the world. They made it illegal in China, but has it stopped them? No. They made it illegal in, I think it was Nigeria, I think it was. And eventually they had to back off and said, okay, you guys can do it.
Yeah.
They cannot stop it. It is run by the people. And now I'm talking about Bitcoin specifically. A lot of alt currencies, which are alternate cryptos to Bitcoin, a lot of them are somewhat centralized, but they're more like stocks. All right. Those are more like stocks. They're like actual companies that are actually doing something, that are using the cryptoverse in order to put their product out. So you have to be very careful when you deal with cryptocurrencies. If I were talking to my brother and he asked me, what cryptocurrency should I invest in for the long term? I would say Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and another one that I know of that's called Cardano is what I would tell them. All right. If he was asking.
You go where now? What is the website again for
okay, so if you go to Coinbase is the most popular one. If you're a newbie, I would recommend Coinbase because it's very easy to use. It's regulated by the SEC, which means that they have to follow KYC, which means know your customer regulations. So it's like a bank, but a bank for cryptos. So when you go to Coinbase, you're going to open an account just like you open an account in a bank. So don't be surprised when they ask you for a picture of your ID, for your social, for your address. It's called Know Your Customer. So whenever you go to a bank to open up a bank account, they have to do the KYC. They have a picture of your license. They get your social security number. They get your address and all that stuff. Same thing with Coinbase. It's a bank for cryptocurrencies, right? So that's where you go. That's where you can get it the easiest. There are exchanges that you can go to where you can actually buy cryptos and you can trade them very easily. Now I'm on one of those exchanges. It's called Bittrex, and it's out of Las Vegas, I believe, or Nevada, somewhere out of Nevada. Not sure if it's Las Vegas or not. But it's also regulated by the SEC. They also do KYC, just like a regular bank does. So that's how I do my, little crypto thing. And it's very easy to get into with Coinbase. That's how I first started a few years back. And, I'm not going to tell you whether I recommend it or not, but I'll tell you my story and I'll tell you what I think is going to happen in the next several years. I learned about cryptos back in 2016. I studied it for like 6 months. And after studying it for like 6 months, just learning as much about it as I could. And by no means am I an expert, all right? But I learned as much about it as I could. And I was finally convinced this is the future. Cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin right now, in my opinion, is like what the internet was back in 1995, right? When you still had dial-up. Yeah. That's how young it is. That's how young it is. Look at where we're at now. I'm talking to you off of my phone. And
you're talking to me from a place I would like to be. I would like to be in Alaska right now.
So look at where the internet's taken us in the last 20 plus years or 30 years. That's where Bitcoin is going to be in the next 10 years.
I actually knew people that thought the internet was going to be a fad when it first came out. Yeah. What was it, 26K modems or something like that? Yeah. I have a really newbie question for crypto really quickly. When you exchange, like when you buy and sell crypto, is there any sort of tax on it whatsoever?
Only on money that only on fiat currency that you realize. So for example,
understand.
Let's say I have $5,000. Let's say I bought $5,000 of Bitcoin. right? And I put it in my Coinbase. In Coinbase, you're able to do limited trading as well. It's not as many coins available as there are in an exchange, but on Coinbase, you're able to do limited trading. So let's say that I put $5,000 of Bitcoin into Coinbase, and then let's say that all of 2021 I was trading it back and forth with Litecoin and whatever other cryptos they have in there, and I made $50,000 this year. Right? When I take that money out, I realize my gains. So let's say I take that $50,000 out. I'm going to have to pay taxes on $45,000. And if you held on to the cryptos for more than 1 year, you're only going to pay capital gains taxes. If you held on to it for less than a year, you're going to pay whatever taxes you pay on your income. All right. So yeah, you are going to pay taxes on it. But you know what? A lot of people, when they first started saying about taxing Bitcoin, didn't like it. But when they started talking about taxing Bitcoin here a while back, I thought it was a good thing. And this is why. Because when the government decided to tax profits off of Bitcoin, they legitimized it.
Yeah.
They said, this is a real thing, and we are going to tax it. How can they tax something that doesn't exist, right? So they legitimized Bitcoin by saying, yep, we're going to tax you on the gains.
Oh, yeah, it's not going anywhere. I tried to explain this to my wife. I tried to explain this to my wife. She's okay with me stacking silver, right? But she's like, I don't like the idea of investing in something you can't hold in your hand. I'm like, what do I do here? I can't let her talk to you about it. I can't let her talk to you about it because she thinks you're the greatest creator on YouTube. I have Augustin Farms stacked up in my office that she's bought.
I wish I had it. I wish I had it here, but you can hold Bitcoin in your hand. You can.
So like on a flash drive or something?
Yeah. This is not it, right? I have what's called a Trezor, which is a hard wallet. And it doesn't look like this, but it's the same concept. It's like a flash drive. Okay? Now, every Bitcoin has what's called a key. All right? It's a private key. Meaning that it's like the serial number on a dollar, right? Even though they mass produce dollars, everyone has a different serial number. So every Bitcoin has its own private key. And you can actually take that private key out of the internet and put it in your hard wallet where nobody else can ever get to it. There's nothing they can do. Once you put it in your hard wallet, nobody can get to it unless you authorize them, or unless they gain access to your password and your seed words and all that kind of stuff and get into your wallet. So you can hold Bitcoin, believe it or not. It's just in a digital form inside of a little vessel like this.
It's just you can explain it so well,
Yeah, you can also do what's called a paper wallet, where they have paper wallet generators on the internet that are free to use. And you can actually take your private key after you purchase a Bitcoin or whatever it is, or a Litecoin. Like I have Litecoin on paper wallets that I downloaded years ago. Man, I paid like $27 for these Litecoin years ago, right? And I put them on a paper wallet. So when that paper wallet prints out, it actually takes those keys and puts them on that barcode that you just printed out. So it gives you a private key to that paper wallet and a barcode. And you can either enter the private key into your wallet to retrieve the Bitcoin or Litecoin from that paper wallet and put it back into your wallet, or you can scan the barcode and it'll put it back into your wallet. It'll even allow you to put back fractions of whatever you have in that paper wallet. So you can technically hold it in your hands. But I understand what people say when they say you can't hold it. It's not real. You know what? Let me put it this way, John.
Okay.
$1, right? Or even a silver coin, right? This represents energy. Okay, this represents energy. That's what your labor is. Your labor is your energy that you're trading to someone else for this. Okay, so that's what this is. It took energy for this to be mined out of the ground. It took labor, right, and capital is earned with labor. So everything's about energy. In order for a Bitcoin to be created, it takes energy. It takes massive computer power, right? It takes people actually having to work for the fiat that they're using to purchase the Bitcoin.
And they're competing against each other. Is that correct? The
The
different
miners,
miners. Yeah.
well, they don't necessarily. Yeah, I guess you can say they compete against each other. What they do is they have these computers that solve mathematical problems. So every time that someone's doing a transaction back and forth, they charge you a fee, a very small fee. And I mean, it's minuscule compared to a credit card transaction fee. It's minuscule, right? And the more advanced that that cryptos get, the less that your fee is going to be, right? But like, for example, right now, if I use the Litecoin to send you $10,000, it would probably cost me less than a penny. Okay. And guess what? Nobody needs to know about it except for you and me.
See, right? I understand this. I'm going to have to repitch it to my wife. I can't put her here to talk to you because she thinks you're the greatest thing on YouTube.
Well,
she uses your link to order survival food instead of my link.
Good for her. Well, you know what, John? I mean, one way that you could approach this is that whenever you're vested in a vehicle by which you want your wealth to be preserved, whenever you're vested in something like this, you need to be diversified as well. Mm-hmm. So listen, this is my favorite metal in the world. This right here is the second most used commodity in the entire world.
But you're not going to put all your wealth into it, right?
Exactly. Do you know what the first most used commodity in the entire world is?
What's that?
Oil.
Oil
is used for everything, right? Well, if this went away tomorrow, if all the silver in the world disappeared tomorrow, we would be back 100 years. We would go backwards 100 years. All right, because silver is used in everything. Everything that we need. The phone I'm talking on to you with you needs silver. The computer that I've got on needs silver. Everything that you can think about pretty much needs silver. So I love silver. I think it's the most undervalued asset in the entire world and in the history of mankind because of the manipulation. But I also have a little bit of gold. Okay. I have some cash. I keep some cash in the house. Not a lot, but I keep enough so that if the energy grid went down and I couldn't slide my credit card or my ATM card, that I can still go to the gas station and get some ice. Well, not ice. I'm in Alaska, but get some milk, whatever. I can still make small micro purchases with some cash that I have. So I keep enough to maybe get me by for a couple of weeks to a month, in the house. So, I like to have a little bit of crypto. Why? Just because I like to be diversified, not because I'm a crypto purist. That's the farthest thing away. I like to be diversified in that, just like I like to be diversified in everything. I have like 5 backup heating sources. Why? Just in case one fails.
It's prepping, basically,
Yeah. You should be diversified in all things. You should not only have one source of water that you can get water from, right? So why should you only have one source of wealth preservation, of a method to preserve your wealth? You should have several. Just in case one fails, another one can take over.
Understood. Very good explanation. So let's get to know Rudy from Alaska Prepper, okay?
Oh, man, you're going to get in trouble now.
No, you got tons of fans in here. I mean, come on now. You
I'm
got
not
tons of fans throughout the
community. Hello,
community.
ladies and
gentlemen. Rudy's link is also down below, guys. If you have not checked out Alaska Prepper, I very much encourage you to do so. He's awesome. So what is your favorite prepping meal, Rudy?
Look at me, John. Do I look like I'm picky?
I'm saying if it's SHTF and you're sitting there and there's no power and you have to resort to your preps, what's the first thing on the list that you're eating?
Well, as far as food goes, I mean, anyone that's seen like my pantry videos and my pantry prepper, my prepper pantry cooking videos, I store what I eat. So, if the power went out tonight and they didn't come back for a month from now, I'd be eating oxtail with rice and beans, and stuff that I eat every day anyways.
Oxtail?
Oh, man.
I've never had oxtail.
If you didn't see my last video where I've never pressure canned oxtail before, I pressure canned some. Oh my goodness! Don't get me started, man. It was awesome.
See, I'm a
Oxtail was
basic guy. I'm
delicious.
thinking beef stew. You know, that's my go-to can of beef
Well, I did
stew.
that too. Yeah, I canned. I did a video where I pressure canned some beef stew and I pressure canned oxtail as a test because I never done it before. It came out perfect. But yeah, I don't really have a favorite prepping meal because my preps are the regular foods that I eat anyways. Now I do have like Mountain House, and I have Oxen Farms, and I have some long-term food storage that are actual meals and not ingredients because I like to be diversified in the foods that I prep as well.
Yeah.
But those I usually just save for, if something has, since they last such a long time, I save them for if something happens where it's an extended crisis that I can at least have that as a backup. So I do have them.
We have a lot of Oxen Farms now too, thanks to your link, and my wife lurks on your videos and stuff. Brenda Hobbs, thank you. Brenda Hobbs says she is a Rudy fangirl. She's in the chat,
Thank you,
so that's
Brenda.
awesome.
Thank you for that.
Rudy, what is your favorite prepping subject?
The economy.
The economy?
It is, and a lot of people don't think that's prepping, but if you don't have good information, then you're not going to be able to prepare for what's coming.
Well, you explained it well a minute ago, you know.
I love to talk about the economy because I believe that our financial system / governmental system, which is the same thing. Anyone that says that the Federal Reserve is not part of the government, on paper it's not, but the Federal Reserve owns the government. So I consider that, I feel that the Federal Reserve owns our government. All right. So I think that it's because of that institution that we find ourselves in the predicament that we're in today. And not only that, it's because of that institutions that we have caused so much harm throughout the world with never-ending wars. So it's something that I'm passionate about because if people only knew about the Federal Reserve and about the banking system and about how it was made in order to enslave us of our labor, of our time, of our wealth. If people only knew that, we may see ourselves in a better world, maybe a decade from now. But before that happens, we're going to have to face some harsh times. So, I would say that that's the number one thing I like to talk about prepping, because I believe that information is a way of prepping. But of course, John, you've watched enough of my videos, man. I love to cook.
Well, I would have to say that
know how to cook.
The two best when it comes to the financial part of prepping, in my opinion, are would be you and John at the Prepared Mind. He does a great job as well. But I did a video. It's probably been a year or so ago, but I explained things on a basic level, I guess. But I explained it like our system is a game of Monopoly, and the bank never loses at the game of Monopoly. We play by their rules, and they're always going to win no matter what.
Yep, they are. They will, as long as they have the power of the printing press, they will always win, and they will always steal your wealth.
That's why I'm looking at crypto hard, man.
It is an undeniable truth that every single day your wealth is stolen from you. Every day, a little piece of your wealth is stripped from you because of the Federal Reserve. And that's something that no one can say, no, it's not. Yes, it is. It is undeniably true that every day we all get robbed from the Federal Reserve.
Oh, yeah. I got robbed today. I had to file my income taxes and had to pay $3,000. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it sucks.
Well, it's not only that, but you know what, people have to understand that we are governed by a debt monetary system, right? It's a debt-based monetary system. What does that mean? That means, the national debt clock?
Oh, yeah.
What that means is us being governed by a debt monetary system or a debt-based monetary system means that if that debt clock ever stops, the entire system will implode. That's what that means. So if that debt clock ever stops, they have to continue to print money or fiat currency. A unit of fiat currency is nothing but a debt note. So next time that you get paid and you go to the bank and you have a stack of bills in your hands, all you're holding are debt notes, are promissory notes, are little mini bonds. You know, everyone knows what the bond market is, right? The bond market is where the government puts bonds out for auction so that people can buy them, and effectively what they're doing is they're lending the government money. So if you take a look at a dollar bill, that's the same thing. It's a bond. It's a little mini bond. It's a bond. It's a promissory note to you. And it has absolutely zero value until you exchange it for something that has real value. But for how long will people continue to accept that dollar with what's going on in the world? You know, a lot of the world is waking up to what we've been doing. You know, just like 3 or 4 years ago, about 65% of all of the transactions in the world were done with the dollar. Now we're down to 60 to 61%. And I mean, 4% doesn't sound like a lot, but that is a lot.
Yeah.
You know, we've been dropping on average about 1% a year.
We're losing our spot, I think, as top dog when it comes to the currency and stuff like that.
What's that?
I think we're losing our top spot. You know what I mean? The U.S. dollar.
Oh, we will. Yeah, we will. The only reason that the dollar is still the reserve currency is because there's nothing else. There's nothing else that can take its place. And central banks throughout the world will not use gold. They don't want to use gold. Well, it's not central banks, but governments don't want to use gold. Gold is too restrictive. Gold actually puts the government on check. Hey, if you don't have enough gold to the amount of money you've got printed, then you have to, you know, deflate the economy and bring some of this money back, or you have to get more gold.
They have to rope in the spending if it's backed by gold, you know.
You know, can you imagine what a much better world this would be if we had a gold-backed currency still? How many more less wars we would be in? Because governments would not be able to just create fiat currency out of thin air so that we can go blow up this guy over there to keep the military-industrial complex employed.
So let me ask you this, Rudy. What is your favorite part of YouTubing? You've been YouTubing for a while. What's your favorite part?
Oh, man, my favorite part, man, is my community members, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, maybe I tried to explain this a while back, but maybe you'll understand what I mean. You know, here we are, man, talking, right? If it wasn't for YouTube, I'd never known who John Davis is, right? Never. You'd have never known who I am.
Right.
Right. Unless I robbed the bank or something and you saw me on TV. Right. So, you know, I try to explain to my community member, I say, you know what? It's kind of weird. Even though most of us will never, ever meet in person, you still feel, you know, you still getting emotion gets there. You know, you still, you know, like fall in love with your community members. You know, you still feel like, man, I can't wait till tomorrow, Sunday at 12 noon. I'm going to get to hang out with the AP community members. You know, and sometimes when I see someone pop on there and I get really excited because I hadn't seen them for, you know, pop in a live stream for like 6 months. And I'm like, hey, how you doing, man? It's so good to see you. It's
there's one guy in my community. He's probably over there too, but I'm all out of bubble gum. If I don't see him for like a week, I start asking people where he's at, you know?
Yeah, because, you know, sometimes you wonder, like, well, you know, some people move on, and that's understandable.
Yeah.
You know, maybe some people get tired of me saying ladies and gentlemen 1,000 times every video. I can understand that. If it's time for you to go, I can understand that. But, you know, when you see them after a while, you're like, oh, wow, man, it's so good to see you. You know, you build a relationship. Even though it's not a physical relationship, you still build a relationship over the interweb. That's a real relationship.
Yeah.
Right. So for those of you out there that feel the same way that I feel, that you can build a relationship over the interweb, then you should realize that Bitcoin is real. Did you get that, John?
Yeah. Bitcoin, one of the most heartbreaking things, though, I would have to say about YouTube, and I know it's probably happened to you a dozen times, is it's been a month and a half ago. I went to check the PO box. And someone had sent me a $5 bill and a letter of apologizing, saying that's all she had. And she went on to explain that she was a single mom and things like this. And I'm like, you know, I actually mentioned it the next morning. I'm like, please do not, if you're in that situation, do not do that. And I'm sure that's happened to you multiple times as well.
It does happen, but let me go ahead and tell you a really quick story, since I know that your people really like stories. I received a letter.
Yeah, they must.
I received a letter a while back from a very nice lady, and it was during one of my food bank runs, right? That I was collecting money for the food bank. She sent me $7. Similar to your story. She said, "I'm sorry, this is all I have, but I really want you to use this to put it towards the food bank." And man, when I read that, man, I felt terrible because she was on Social Security. I felt terrible. I really did. So I brought it up on my next live stream, and I said that, and then she must have been on my live stream because, and I told people, please don't send me money. Please take care of yourself. Yeah. If you want to donate, or contribute to my work, let a 15-second ad run. It'll only cost you 15 seconds of your life, but please don't send me money if you can't afford it, please. So she emailed me the next day, and she said, it was a blessing for me to be able to pay all of my bills and feed myself for this month and still have $7 left over. And if I can help you feed someone else, then that is a blessing as well. And then I was reminded that in order to be a good giver, that you have to learn to be a good receiver. So, that really, made me think. I still to this day get uncomfortable when I get money, but I realize that it may be more important for that person that's sending you that $5 than it is for you to receive it. It may be more important for them to say, man, I'm paying it forward. I'm doing something that's going to help someone. It may be more important for them to feel that and to know that they're helping someone else than it is for you to receive that $5. So you should always receive it with open arms and honor the person that sent it to you by putting that $5 to work and helping someone else.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Liz Rambo, thank you very much. Liz Rambo says, Rudy, you the man. What's up with that, Liz? He is the man in the community. I call you the godfather of the prepping community, man.
I know. I saw your last video. I saw your last
everybody
video.
Knows you. Everybody respects you. Yeah. So this came from my community. It was a really good question. If you're not living in Alaska, where would you live?
Ooh, that's a tough one, man. I definitely wouldn't go back to Michigan or New York or Washington State. Maybe North Carolina? No, not North Carolina. That's the East Coast.
Not right now, anyway.
You know what? I would probably look somewhere South Dakota, Missouri, one of those places that don't really like to take too much crap from the government. Not Texas. I think Texas is too big. I like Texas. I've been there. I have family there. But like I said, I would like to be somewhere more of a rural area or even like a rural state that's kind of like hillbilly-ish, for a lack of better terms.
West Virginia would be perfect for you. It's very secluded. People leave you alone.
Yeah. Well, I told my boss before I left the rat race, he's like, what are you going to do? I'm like, listen, I just want to be a hillbilly. I just want to be free. I want to be a hillbilly. I want to be a Dominican hillbilly. All right. I just want to wake up when I want to wake up. I want to go feed my chickens. I want to go hunting when I want. I want to go. That's what I want to do. I want to learn how to play the banjo. You know what? I want to get a pair of overalls. That's my lifestyle. That's what I enjoy doing. So I would like to, if I had to leave Alaska, which I never will, but if I did, I'd want to go to a state where if you go to church and you have a pair of overalls on, those jean overalls, that's all right, as long as you're wearing a nice shirt, and clean shoes. So that's kind of like what I like, because to me, everywhere I've been to that's like that is more community centric, where people really care about their community. And it is like that up here. I'm very happy where I am here. Even with the weather. I was
going to ask you what it was like. I mean, because it looks kind of secluded up where you're at in that part of Alaska, but I was wondering what the people were like.
I'm not very far away from town, but I'm far away enough to where if something really bad happened, nobody's gonna come up here. You know, so I'm far away enough from town to be able to go to town whenever I want, as long as I have a few minutes to spare. And I'm also far away enough where I feel pretty safe that if something really bad happened, that nobody's going to be coming up here, because there's really nothing up north of where I live.
All right, folks, really quickly, if you've not done so, please like or dislike the video, and please go check out Alaska Prepper, and consider donating to Texas. Again, the link is right down below. We're getting ready to do a giveaway. It's going to take 2 seconds here, Rudy. Okay?
Really?
Yeah. Right. Well, maybe a little bit longer than 2 seconds.
But no, take your time. Take your time.
We're giving away dog tags. And awesome. You know what, Rudy? You can win this too, brother. We're giving away a decal.
Hey, you sent me the first dog tag you ever sent out. I got it.
We're giving away a Prepper Nation themed bracelet. Woo. And a Camo Camp Bright flashlight. Okay, guys? The rules are very simple. Right beside the computer here, I have a prepping item. And this particular prepping item can be anything. It can be something that you consume, something you defend with, something you barter with. The first person that drops it in chat wins. What do you think it is, Rudy?
You said something you can consume?
Yeah, anything. Something you can consume, barter with. Put in a boomstick. What's that?
It's not a knife. Someone said silver, flashlight, knife, water filter. You can't. Beef stew. Beef stew.
This one's a little harder. I may have to give a hint here in a minute. Slow chat's on. That's what's killing them. They're guessing, then they have to wait 30 seconds.
What are you doing here?
Well, that one's pretty close. A few people have said alcohol. So I'll tell you what, the first person that tells me what kind of alcohol.
Whiskey. Gatorade. Moonshine. Somebody said moonshine.
Not moonshine.
Vodka. Vodka.
Okay, somebody whiskey. Got it. If the moderators can go back and let me know, the first person that got wine, I saw it pop up, but then it blasted off. If one of the moderators doesn't mind going up there and tell me the first person, I'll mail that out to you and everything, guys. Thank you very much. So, Rudy, while they are cleaning up the mess over here in chat, let me ask you what your thoughts are on the potential of so many new homeless Americans by the end of the year, and what kind of impact that's going to have on the prepping community.
All right. So this is what I think. Man, this is really, I don't think it's conspiratorial, because I think it's based on history, and history often rhymes. So obviously we have a lot of people in this country that want the United States of America to be to not be a free country. And I'm just going to say the word socialist. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They want it to be a socialist country, right? So if you brainstorm this, the government just passed a bill or a law, whatever they want to call it, by edict more than likely, that the moratoriums on evictions are extended till, what is it now, till the summer or April?
I think they extended them around April, I think.
And then they passed on that a $1.9 trillion relief bill. They just passed like $25 billion for rental assistance. So what they're doing is they are going to continue to get the people hooked on government help. So I personally don't think that there's going to be a lot of evictions in the coming months or homeless people. I think the government's going to keep coming up with. I hope you don't think this is the last stimulus bill they're doing, because there's going to be many more.
They'll keep it going as long as they can.
There's going to be many more stimulus bills.
Yeah.
Okay, until we have
to condition people to that idea, I think.
Yeah, until we have that one really big event that we're waiting on in order for them to go to the next step, they're going to condition people to not have to pay for rent. They're paying for the rent. So, and then by the time that everything's said and done, and then we have that big event, who knows if people will have to pay rent at all? Because how many landlords are there going to be left?
That's true.
They can't pay their mortgage. They can't pay their mortgage.
At some point, though, don't we run out of money to give these people, or do we just print more?
How do you run out of money when you have the world reserve currency and you own the printing press?
Yeah, that's definitely going to drive the dollar down.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. If you had a printer in your house and you knew that you could print money indefinitely without going to jail, would you?
Probably, but at some point it would catch up to you. You know what I mean? It would be everywhere.
And it will catch up. It's going to catch up to it. It will, but it's going to take a little bit of time. The thing is that
thank you very much for that. She said, "So awesome to see my two favorite preppers in the same space. Thank you very much." Timothy, thank you. John, with your $1,400, make sure you buy a few extra folding saws, brother.
Excellent advice.
Yeah, the last time I went camping, I did I pulled everything out on video out of the rucksack and showed everybody what I was taking, and I forgot to put the foldable saw back in.
Oh, get yourself a silky saw. You won't regret it.
A what now?
A silky saw.
Gotcha.
Silky saw is the best darn thing since sliced bread.
And the worst part is, we got back, we realized that my friend James actually had one of the small commando saws in his bag, but he didn't realize he had it. You know, so it was horrible. So the digital reset, at some point, I think it's coming. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but if it were to come, what's that?
I think so.
How can people prepare for that?
Do the same things you're doing now if you're a prepper. Because the thing is this, we cannot stop what's coming. All right, we can't stop it. It's going to come. So the question you have to ask yourself is this: would you be better off being prepared when the cost of living goes up by 75%? Yes. You know, I like to say that my pantry is one of my best savings accounts.
Yeah, good investment.
It's something that I know I'm going to use, and it's something that I know is going to get more expensive over time. Next year, everything that I bought this year or last year coming into this year, by the end of this year is going to be worth 30 to 40% more. So it's a great savings account. You're actually earning an interest on your food preps, right? So what's going to happen is that our standard of living is going to be diminished by about 75%. What happened when FDR took away the gold from the people, right? When he confiscated it. By how much did the standard of living of the average American go down? Do you know?
I don't know what percentage now.
It went down by 75%.
Wow.
You know why? Because he made everyone sell back their gold for $20.67 an ounce, right? Once he collected all the gold that he thought he would be able to collect, which was, I think, about 100 and something million ounces. Remember, there wasn't that many people back then as there is now. So yeah. I think he collected around 100 and something million ounces of gold, right? He revalued the price of gold from $20.67 to $35. That is
a bunch of money.
So in effect, what he did by revaluing gold to $35, he just increased the inflation on the price that people pay for goods by 75%. So he gave them $20 for their ounce of gold, and then he revalued gold at $35, which made that $20 really now only be worth about $5. You see how that works? Guess what happened in 1971, 73? If you take a look at a inflation calculator, go and punch in how many dollars would I need today to buy the same thing that I could buy with $1 back in 1971? I believe it's like shoot.
Oh, my grandparents tell me all the time.
Wait, just a second, man. Just a second.
He's pulling it up. Guys, I'm getting ready to break open a NOS energy drink. What's everybody out there drinking? I'm just curious while we're doing this here. Hopefully nothing illegal.
Here we go. Technology. Okay, so if you take a look at from 1971 to 2021, this is using the government's numbers. So you could pretty much multiply this by 2. But $1 in 1971 takes almost $7 today. All right, takes almost $7 to spend today. So since 1971 to today, inflation has gone up by about 700%.
Yeah, and it's not going to be long before it goes up that much more again.
There you go. So that's where I come up. That's where I come up with about 75% reduction in your standard of living. Because if your money, if your wealth is worth about 75% less, then that means that your standard of living is going to have to go down by 75%. So the more things that you have now at today's prices, the better off you'll be later. And people always ask, well, when is this going to happen? What does it matter? Do you get insurance the day before a car accident?
Yeah. No, you want to have it way before, just in case.
Yeah, but how do you know that you're going to have a car accident tomorrow?
Yeah.
You get insurance just in case. If you never have a car accident in your entire life, is it a bad thing that you had to get insurance? No, it's not, because it gave you peace of mind and you knew that if something happened, you would be covered. So why in the world would the average person not get food insurance, water insurance, self-defense in case the cops can't get to your house on time? Why would the average person not get those things? So yeah, our next big crash, we're going to be seeing, you know, the average standard of living, I would say 70%, if not more.
Wow.
It's not going to be good, man. You know, and I'm an optimist person by nature. By nature,
Yeah.
I'm optimistic, but
it's hard to be optimistic though right now.
Yeah, but you know, I'm a realist as well. And the reason that you see me smile when I said it's going to be bad is because I know it's going to be bad, but I'm doing something about it.
And you're prepared, yeah.
So I'm asking the person that's looking at this video thinking that I'm a crazy person, why won't you just prepare a little bit? That way you won't be a drain on the system and instead be able to help people instead of ask for help.
Yeah. You know, emergency insurance, basically, you know.
That's what it is. That's all it is. It's all it is.
So here's a hypothetical question, okay? You wake up tomorrow morning, Rudy, and you are president of the United States. I would vote for you. Folks, if you're in the chat, let me know if you'd vote for Rudy. I think he would win. What are the first 3 things you would do to fix this country?
Get rid of the Fed, get rid of the IRS, 1 and 2. Go back to a constitutional republic, form of law.
You got my vote.
That's it.
Sign me up, man.
Get rid of the IRS, get rid of the Federal Reserve, go back to a constitutional republic, form of law, where law is law and not by edict. That's it.
No gun grabbing, right?
It would take a long time. It would take a decade. It would take a decade for us to actually be all right, because if you did that, it would cause a lot of pain, but it would allow us to be free. And being free is not easy. Being free is not supposed to be easy. You know, being free is pretty much being responsible for your own actions. But nowadays, people want the government to take care of them from cradle to grave. You know, so yeah, man, those are my 3 things. And even though I can't run for president because I was born in the Dominican Republic, you know, maybe I can become a dictator or something.
Yeah, well, if you run under the right party, they might let that slide. Timothy, thank you. He says, Alaska, do you ever get tired of saying I told you so? LOL, love your channel, man.
Oh, no, I don't. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you. I don't like to say I told you so. Even if a situation arises where I would never do that. And I know he's just kidding. I know he's just playing around.
Yeah.
But you know what? The thing is that I'd rather not put myself, I'd rather not have to be in that position. I'd rather be wrong. Everything I told you today about the economy and stuff like that, and how it's going, and how the stock market is going to crash, it's going to be the biggest crash, the biggest transfer of wealth in human history is going to occur in our lifetimes. Think about that.
No, I understand. You would rather not have a car crash, but if you have the car crash, you want the insurance. You know what I mean?
So I would rather be wrong. I would rather, you know, when I'm 70 years old, I would rather my grandkids be making fun of me because they saw my videos and I was saying, yeah, this is going to happen, and it never happened. I would rather be 100% wrong. Trust me, John, If things were to stay status quo, meaning if things were to stay the same way they are now, I'll be fine. I will be fine. But what do you want for your children?
Yeah,
I would rather leave this world knowing that my children have a world in which they can be free and decide to practice that of which their own will tells them to
they're
practice.
going to have to figure out how to clean the mess up right now that's being made, you know?
Yeah.
So I've got one more question for you, Rudy. First of all, do you have a commercial driver's license?
No.
Okay, well, you need to get one because I need you to take some people to school here, okay? I get this
All right,
question
we'll
a
try.
lot. I'm sure you get this question a lot. You can't eat silver. I need you to take people to school on that.
No, actually, you can. Oh man, I need to show you this, John. I need to show you this before we start on silver. Let me get one out of the bag. I hope you'll be able to see it. So
my favorite is not with me, but I have a generic round that has.
you're
I'm
gonna
a
have to
huge
see this.
fan
This
of
is
the
awesome.
book Dracula, and it has Count Dracula on it.
I don't think you'll be able to see it, but the story behind this is I went to. There's a coin shop that I go to.
I saw that on your channel. Yeah, tell the chat here. What's up
you
with
can't
that?
see it. It's no good. So there's a coin shop that I've been going to in Fairbanks for years now, ever since I've been here, really. And we've become pretty good friends. And I go in there the other day just to chit chat, and I ended up buying like 2 or 3 ounces of silver. And one of the gentlemen that works there, his name is Dick. Dick and Jerry are the guys that work there. So if you see my videos, the taller guy is Dick. And he says, "Hey, I got something for you." So he gave me this little bag. And I'm like, "Oh, those are 10,000 rounds." And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Cool. How much are they?" He's like, "No, this is a gift for you." And I'm like, "No," and after the 1 or 2 minutes of saying, no, you can't do that, whatever, he said, "Just look at them. Take a look at them really close." And I look at them, and it just happens to be that Dick mints his own coins.
Mm-hmm.
So he gave me 10 personally minted Alaska Prepper coins, where on one side it says Alaska Prepper with a little snow cluster in the middle or a snowflake in the middle, and in the back it says silver, 1/10 ounce.
And my moderators are going to be upset because weren't you giving those out to your moderators?
Yeah, that's what I said. I gave them all away.
I got to step my game up over here, man.
I haven't mailed them yet, but today I went out and got envelopes and stuff so I can mail them out. And after I realized that I gave them all away, because I have exactly 10 moderators.
Yeah.
I went back and I was like, "Hey, Dick, can you make me some more?" He's like, "Oh man, it might take me a while." I'm like, "It doesn't matter." So he made me 20 more.
That's awesome.
I'll probably give some of those away here and there, but I'll end up keeping those for myself. I just thought it's pretty cool.
I saw that video over there, and I was like, man, my moderators are going to think I'm so cheap now, They're like, dog tags, we don't want these things, man.
But listen, ladies and gentlemen, no, you're right. You can't eat silver. You can eat it, but it's not going to do you any good, okay? But it depends where you are. If you go to Venezuela right now, this 1 ounce silver coin can feed a family of 4 for 5 days.
Wow.
A balanced diet, meaning that they're going to get breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they're going to get about 3,000 calories a day. So a family of 4 can eat for 5 days a balanced diet. I'm not talking about just rice and beans. I'm talking about everything that a balanced diet includes: your proteins, your fats, your dairies, your grains, your vegetables, everything. All right. So in Venezuela, you can't eat silver, right? You can't eat it, right? But instead of actually eating it and not getting any nutritional value out of it, you can cash it in their currency so that you can go ahead and feed your families for 5 days. Now, if it's one person, turn that into a month. 1 ounce of silver will feed you for a full month in Venezuela if you're one person. If you just buy the staples, if you are just in survival mode and you're eating rice and beans and a little bit of salt and oil, this will feed a family of 4 for a month. So, you can either put your excess wealth, and what I mean by excess wealth is this. Personally, I don't think that anyone has any business buying any gold or silver or wealth preserving mechanisms unless they have all their preps. If you don't have all your preps for at least a year, If you don't have contingency plans for your heating or for your water or for your food or for your medical and all that kind of stuff, you have no business buying precious metals. Now, if you have all your preps and you still have excess wealth, then you need to put that somewhere. Would you rather put it in this? All right, that's been money, real money for the last 6,000 years, or would you rather put it in a piece of paper that the government says is money just because they say it's money that's only been around for 100 years?
That's been devalued what, 700% so far?
Yeah. Oh no, that's just since 71.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right, that's just since 1971. Since what do you need, a flashlight? Yeah. Okay, here, just a second. Sorry, man.
No, you're fine, man. You're fine. Checking the chat here. Okay, that's a good question, Nana. I'll ask him. He will know. Somebody in the chat wants to know, it's actually a lot of people, what happens to Bitcoin when the grid goes down?
Okay, just a second, man. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine, man.
Oh, you want me to get it? All right. What happens to Bitcoin when the grid goes down?
Yeah.
And when you say when the grid goes down, like goes down for a week or permanently?
Well, I wouldn't say permanently, but you know,
like
maybe long term, several months or something.
Okay. The same thing will happen to Bitcoin that happens to the dollar. It'll go away until the grid comes back. Okay. However, this is what I like to tell people when they bring up that question, because it comes up all the time. If the grid goes down, let's say for long term, we're talking about like a life changing, the grid goes down, you know, people are, it's like an SHTF, right? Kind of like, if the grid goes down long term, I guarantee you that the last thing you're going to be thinking about is silver or gold or dollars or your 401k or Bitcoin. You're going to be thinking about food, water, shelter, warmth, self-defense, and self-defense. All right. So if the grid goes down, it doesn't matter what you have. You're going to be thinking about survival. Yes, Bitcoin exists in the interweb. However, it's independent, meaning that there's no one place that controls Bitcoin. So when the grid comes back up, as long as there is one computer in the world, just one computer in the world, all right, that can host Bitcoin, then every other computer that hooks onto it will have the entire Bitcoin network back up and running.
Oh, there would be people scrambling to get one up, I would think, you know, as soon as possible. Yeah. Too much money tied up into it now, you know.
Look, Bitcoin is just a way that you can diversify your wealth preservation. That's all it is. It's a tool, right? People get hung up on this. People get hung up on money. You know, this is real money. They get hung up on this. They got hung up on fiat currency. And what they don't realize is that I'll say money. And when I say money, I'll mean everything, like fiat currency, silver, gold, Bitcoin. Money is just a tool. It is a tool that gives you options. When you have more money, you have more options. When you have no money, you have no options, except to go and get a handout from Uncle Sam. Okay, so yeah, if the grid goes down, Bitcoin will go down, but so will your ATM, and so will your credit cards, and so will the digits that you have in a bank somewhere, and so will the digits that you have in some kind of a hedge fund account that holds your retirement pay. I mean, your retirement. Right? So, I mean, that's not really something I'm worried about, because if something like that happens, who cares if you have Bitcoin or silver or gold? Who cares? Because it's not going to matter. All that's going to matter is that you put away enough food, that you put away enough water, you have self-defense. That's what's going to matter.
Thank you, Timothy. He asks, if the grid went down, couldn't they technically wipe any electric money, even banks, if they wanted to? Banks, Bitcoin, PayPal?
I don't understand that question. If the grid goes
if the
down,
grid went down, technically, could they wipe the electronic money out?
Like Bitcoin?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No. Yeah, they could wipe out the they can wipe out the exchanges. So if you have Bitcoin in an exchange like Coinbase, if you're letting them hold it there, they can wipe that out because that's completely centralized. However, I recommend that anyone that does get cryptos get a hardware wallet and pull that out of the internet
and lock
put
it
in
up,
your wallet. Yep, and have it in your own possession. Now,
do not lose your password either, right?
If you lose it, it's gone.
Yeah.
But do you want to be free or not? You want to have someone taking care of you with FDIC, or do you want to be a free human being? It's up to you, man. Most people don't. Most people don't want to be free, and that's just a matter of fact. Most people want to be taken care of. And that's just the way it is.
On a personal level, I think the more they make this move towards socialism and potentially communism, the more people are going to be turned on by things like Bitcoin and Litecoin and things. It's going to become more appealing to some people, the people that want to be free.
Yeah, and that's why Bitcoin was started. That's why the Bitcoin movement is as big as it is. And there's no turning back. There's no turning it back now. I mean, it is what it is.
So if you have a couple of minutes, Rudy, I've got somebody in the green room. He's a patron. He's been waiting probably an hour back here because he wants to talk and everything to you. Do you have time?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Hey, brother, I'm sorry you had to wait back there so long, man. How are you?
Oh, that's fine. I've just been enjoying the talk.
6-shooter, big fan of Rudy's.
Good to meet you,
Pretty
man.
good. How about you?
Good.
It's good to meet you.
Same here, man. Nice to meet you too.
6-shooter, what do you think about crypto, man, now that you've heard the professor here explain it? He explains it so well, man.
Well, like I said before when I was talking to you, I don't know a lot about it, and I haven't got into it or anything like that, but I like how he's explaining it. It makes a lot more sense that way.
Yeah. The dollar is not...
I've said this, I think I've said this about 6 times already on this show, but it's all about being diversified, number one. And number two, it's about not falling in love with the wealth-preserving vehicle of your choice. Don't fall in love. Look, do you really think that if one day this thing goes up to $1,000, like people are saying it will, that I won't trade this in?
Yeah.
This is a tool. This is a tool. I don't sleep with this in my bed. This is a tool. It just happens to be that it's money. It fills all of the requirements of what money needs to be. But if this thing ever goes up to a price where I can change my life for the better and my children's life for the better, and maybe pay for my daughter's, whatever she wants to be when she grows up, if she wants to go to college, hopefully not. But anyways, right? If this will allow me to do those things, I'm not going to keep it just because it's nice and shiny. I'm going to allow it to do what it was meant to do, preserve my wealth and allow me to have options so that I can live a better life and hopefully, help others live a better life as well.
Just hold the value a lot more than the U.S. dollar. U.S. dollar is not going back up in value anytime soon.
Oh, no. You know what? Whenever you hear that the U.S. dollar is going up in value, it's not really going up in value. It's going up in value against the other currencies that is competing with. So like with the yen from Japan, the yuan from China, the pound and the sterling, or the euro, the pound sterling and the euro. That's the only thing that is going up in value against. But all of these other central banks are printing just as much, if not more than we are. So whenever you see the dollar go up and down, it's not going up and down against your purchasing power of the things that you can buy with it. It's going up and down against the purchasing power of all those other currencies. And they're all printing at the same time. All right. So whenever you see that, that's what's going on. It's just a way of them, of them wanting to show you or make you think that the dollar actually has value. It has almost no value left from its inception, maybe 1.5% left, about 98.5% of its value from its inception in 1913 has already been inflated away. But yeah, that's what money is, man. Whether you want to consider it dollars, silver, gold, crypto, all it is a tool. And if you use that tool, for the betterment of yourself, your family, and others, then I think that in the end, you'll be okay. If you're a pig, I tell people, don't be a pig. If you go in the stock market and you make 200%, don't be a pig. Take some profits, do something with that. If you're a pig, maybe things won't work out that great.
I don't know about 6-shooter, but I feel like I'm sitting in class and Rudy's just up here like a professor. He's getting ready to hand out tests and everything.
Definitely.
You're just knowledgeable, man.
I couldn't make it through that class.
You're just knowledgeable. So 6-shooter, do you have any questions for him? This is the man to ask. Is that an O-light, by the way, on your hat?
Yep, it actually is. It's my favorite one that I've got, just for the fact that I can stick it on that Velcro patch and cool. Always have a headlamp.
That's sweet, man. I've got headlamps, but not not O-light brand. Because I'm on a budget.
Yeah, I understand that, but I've had really good luck with it so far. But I just want to say I appreciate being able to come on here and talk to you a little bit, and all that stuff. And I really appreciate how much charity type stuff that you do in the prepping community and all that. Like he said, you're a really big icon in that community and things, and really known for being such a nice guy and so charitable and everything. So I wanted to tell you thank you for that and all that kind of stuff.
I appreciate that.
He's the nicest guy in the community. I think Be Ready Today is right there. I don't know if you know who that is, Rudy. I think you're going to be up there tomorrow. You're going to be up there tomorrow, right?
Over where?
Be Ready Today.
I don't know what time.
I've got it written down, 6 o'clock tomorrow.
I might be. To tell you the truth, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. To tell you the truth, I try not to watch that many prepping videos because, man, I'll tell you what, it just wears me out. So every once in a while you'll see me pop in one of your live streams, and then you may not see me for a while because I just I pop in and out every once in a while to support other YouTube creators, preppers, because I think it's important. But I try not to watch a lot of it because it is draining, man. It is draining. If all you do, prepper channels are by their nature somewhat of a gloomy and doomy subject matter. Because what are we prepping for? We don't prep for when things are good. I mean, what do I need to tell you to prep for when there's unicorns farting rainbows? Everything's great. What are you prepping for, right? We prep for when things are not at their best, right? When there's crisis. So it gets gloomy and doomy. So every once in a while I step away from it and I don't spend a lot of time, watching a lot of other prepper channels. Yes, I still stay subscribed and I pop in every once in a while. And I watched your last video. That's why I knew that Godfather deal you were talking about, So, I'll go back and forth, but I really don't spend a whole bunch of time just on prepper videos. I rather just, watch a few prepper videos a day, and then the rest of my days I just spend watching fluffy kitty cats.
You watch fluffy kitty cats? I like to watch Western stuff.
No, but hey, thank you very much, 6-shooter, man. It's not. I was gonna say it's nice meeting you, but I have seen you before. You've been on John's channel before.
Is that a new backdrop there, 6-shooter?
It is. I just got it in the other day. Hopefully it looks a little bit better.
That's awesome, man. It pops.
Yeah. But I was watching y'all earlier and I kind of heard Rudy over here talking, so.
Oh, that's nice, man.
Yeah, you come down to Virginia, awesome. I'll teach you how to play.
Give us a little tune, man. Give us a little bit.
Hopefully it's not too loud. It is kind of loud, so you might have to turn the volume down.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you needed to charge an entrance fee, John. That is awesome, man. You know what? I've always wanted to learn how to play the guitar, and a friend of ours sent me a guitar after I left the workforce. But I have my left arm is really, really bad, and I just can't, hold the neck. But I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, You know, I play guitar and everything too. My dad taught me when I was like 6, and when I was about 16, I learned how to play the banjo. But with your left hand, the banjo is easier to play. The strings are a lot softer and easier to push versus playing a
Okay,
guitar.
maybe I'll give it a try because I've always wanted
Hmm.
to learn how to play. It's something I've never done is learn how to play an instrument well. You know, and
Yeah. Well,
so
I
yeah,
don't
maybe
play
I'll
them
give that.
too good, but
Oh, that was awesome! Are you kidding me? I told John he should have charged a cover fee for that.
I think I was the first one to play an instrument on one of John's streams.
Oh yeah, that thing's welcome over here anytime because
Yeah,
I
that's
tried to
awesome.
play
Man.
the
I love that
acoustic
sound.
guitar a couple of times. I just couldn't pick it up, man. I don't have the talent for it.
I got one of them laying over to the side too.
Yeah. See, my whole reasoning was, and I told this story once before, but I was going to learn how to play the acoustic guitar to get out of buying like Valentine's Day gifts and stuff. Then you could be like, baby, I wrote you a song, you know, and then you can get out of it, having to drop the money for it. So,
Yeah, we were talking about that last time, and I was telling you how I don't really have a, artistic touch for writing. So you just said pull up some old songs she ain't heard and claim it.
yeah. So, folks, thank you very much, Rudy, for being here.
Well, thank you
If you
for
don't
having me.
mind,
Man.
hang out for a couple of minutes after the stream ends, brother, so I can
Yeah,
talk to you.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Six Shooter, for being on. Thank you, all of you folks here in the chat. Thank you very much. And please remember the first link down below. The donations do go to help Texas, and Rudy is going to make sure that gets done 100%. And thank you very much for being here. Check out Alaska Prepper. If you're in the chat and you don't know who Alaska Prepper is, please check him out. But I don't think that there's a single person in here that doesn't know who Rudy is. Because I'm a gambling man. But anyway, you folks have a blessed night, okay? See you in the morning. I got a film premiere.